I'm a student of the game, so like I don't go to the basketball court and just play and trust my skills. I watch people play, like Michael Jordan or Curry. Like I watch how they actually, their hands rip the ball and turn. And so the same thing in business, podcasting, and all these things. I watch those who are successful and what they do to learn what I can do and what I shouldn't do and those kind of things. So a lot of watching, man. Like just being a student.
This is Biz Ninja Entrepreneur Radio with your host, Tyler Jorgensen.
Welcome out to Biz Ninja Entrepreneur Radio. I am your host, Tyler Jorgensen, and I'm coming to you today. I'm in my office, and our guest is out in Hawaii. So I'm already coming to this show a little bit jealous and a little bit frustrated, but I'm excited to have out on the show Richie Breaux, who has really learned a thing or two about resilience and about rebuilding and building. And so I'm excited to have him out on the show to learn more about his story and share it with you. So welcome out to the show, Richie.
Yeah, appreciate that, Tyler. Yeah, it's 8 o'clock here. I'm sure it's like noon or, the Eastern time in West Coast. You get the 3-4 hours. So early morning, I still have my coffee ready to join. Yeah. I'm a big fan, Tyler. Thank you so much for having me on.
I operate on Hawaii time all the time. So this is like when my day gets started too. So it sometimes we're just called to the islands, I guess. But so Richie, let's go right to the heart of it, man. When was the first moment that you realized you were an entrepreneur?
Yeah, great question. I think this resonates with a lot of entrepreneurs when I say it just happened. But I want to give a little bit of substance. My father was an entrepreneur, man. He used to sell gumball machines, put them in places. He was going knocking on doors, trying to sell products. I remember he would give us this product and to make me and my younger brothers, we're little, maybe like 8, 9, 10, go knock on doors and say, hey, we got this product where we go wash and wax your car, at the same time. And then he'll tell us, do it for free. Let the product speak for itself. So we go do it for free. And then they would call back and say, yeah, man, I need that again. That was dope. I don't got to drive anywhere. And so I think the hustle began early, and he got into running marathons and opened his own shop. And I thought that was the coolest thing in the world as a kid. Like, oh, my dad has his own store, and so I think that captured me early, kind of like when a basketball fan sees Michael Jordan or Steph Curry hit a last second three and then they fall in love with basketball. That's what happened with me when I seen he had his own shop. I walk in there, I think I was the cool kid with my friends, like this is my dad's, So
yeah, for sure.
I think the seed planted early. And then, just going on my journey of life, going to college, playing football, and then joining the Navy for 4 years. That's how I got in Hawaii, by the way. I'm originally from Peoria, Illinois, south of Chicago, but been here for 20 something years now. So after the Navy, I wanted to stay. Who wouldn't? I found my wife, who's my wife now, been together since, I landed here and joined the Carpenters Union and worked my butt off for 8 years, and just as a tradesman and kind of moving up in the ranks in the company I was with. And I got laid off for the first time after 8 years of that company. And maybe survival mode kicked in, and just, like, okay, what can I do? I did a couple side jobs, helped some family members, was working and just a little grassroots guy, just doing some cash jobs. But I noticed the flow was happening. Like, wait a minute, people are calling because I just finished one. And so There was a nice flow there. And I still wasn't thinking, start a company, but the cash was getting a little big. And so in construction, when you do a side job, when those $5,000, $10,000 started turning into $25,000 payments, I was like, man, I've got to take this serious. I'm talking to my wife. And so we just, got in some prayer and tried to think about, really meditate. Hey, do you want to take this serious? We have 4 kids. We got bills to pay. Like, you can't be playing. I want to start a business right now, And so there was a lot of faith involved with stepping out. She did support me and made sure I, confirmed I'm really going to take this seriously. And so we jumped in and just happened. Sometimes, opportunity, hard work meets opportunity. And so you never know if those opportunities are there unless you really put in the hustle. So just with all the hard work we put out and, and just doing what we're doing, opportunity happened to connect that one day, which was like a ripple effect, right client, right time. And then from there, I just could not keep up. Yeah. And just the referral from that, the 3 different connections from commercial and residential. And so, they say, was it opportunity or luck there was some kind of luck comment where, hard work meets luck. But I felt that, man, where I felt like,
Yeah.
being diligent meant opportunity, And
Yeah,
so,
I know that old quote, right? That the harder I work, the more lucky I feel, right? Those kind of
yeah.
things, right? And so you're clearly willing to put in the work. That's not a question. So here, this is fascinating because this happens sometimes where people are in a career, they learn a profession, they learn a trade or a skill, and then there's a major life event, something comes up, whether it's good or bad, and they have to make a change. So you started doing your own stuff. When you're starting doing construction, there's the business that you already know, right? The carpentry and the skill work and that sort of thing. But then there's the business you don't, the bookkeeping, the marketing, the operations, the managing a team, those kind of things. What was the biggest challenge for you moving from into that business ownership side of things? What was the biggest thing you had to learn?
Yeah, if we skip to that, man, I would say taxes. Like
you got that figured out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's good.
Man. It was like, well, because I guess, when you start moving and doubling your revenue every year, you got to keep up with different brackets, right? Mm-hmm. Unless you're studying the stuff, you won't know. And also just those percentages change as you go, right? Mm-hmm. And so as a young entrepreneur, I'm sitting here before we got to the 8-figure mark, I'm just me, a couple guys, beat up truck, going from kitchen back, each job and, putting the money where it needs to be. So we wanted to handle the business like legit, like it's every angle it could be. Legit website, want to get a legit shop, want to get, legit fleet vehicles with our names on it, employees paid, through the system and make sure workman's comp, all the insurances, get our license. So we treated it at that level. And when you do, you also got to pay your taxes. So, those taxes, everything you're recording, we're not doing cash jobs and trying to do everything under the table. We're trying to be legit, show our revenue, show how we can grow and build. And so, as that was the biggest challenge, man, was like year 2, year 3, I would say, we're 12, 13 years in, 14, but year 3, man, it was like, wait, we don't pay the taxes at the end of the year anymore. You got to pay it, biannually. Then it's like, oh, you got to pay it quarterly. And then it's like, oh man, it's just quicker. And it'd be like a surprise. Like all of a sudden IRS will show up and say, hey, you got to actually pay this sooner now because your revenue just doubled and hit that bracket. And so that was the biggest challenge, just trying to cough up that money when you're not expecting it.
Yeah, for sure. So, as that's a big learning curve for people, especially at start kind of on side hustles where they're just not as worried about it. Did you find that you had to learn all of this on your own, or while you were growing, did you find any mentors and people that were able to help you out?
Yeah, honestly, the best course was doing it on my own. I actually paid a lot of money for coaching and count. Not saying that stuff's not good. It is good. You need those mentors and certain people, but a lot of it was just trial and error, but sometimes those errors can cost a lot and can sink you. But I think I was equipped personally, I had to learn to have faith in myself and build confidence in myself, but I think I had the tools. I just didn't have the confidence yet. Right. And so, I understand sales and marketing, but then I question myself, is that right? And then I want to get coaching. They tell me something I already know. And I'm like, shucks, I just paid big money for that. But there's along the road and the path, there are little whispers from, colleagues and different business owners that they're doing that really helped. I mean, I'm a student of the game. So like, I don't go to the basketball court and just play and trust my skills. I watch people play like Michael Jordan or Curry. Like I watch how they actually, their hands grip the ball and turn. And so the same thing in business, podcasting and all these things. I watch those who are successful and what they do to learn what I can do and what I shouldn't do and those kind of things. So a lot of watching, man, like just being a student is more important than anything to me. And so when I do get those coaching lessons, I'm like, I already knew that because I've been watching it, but I just needed to get reassurance along the way. For sure. I'm pretty sure a lot of entrepreneurs feel that they got this, they have it. It's like they're built for this. They just need reassurance that they're right.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And so many times it's more just that encouragement that you're on the right path more than finding a new path. What, as you started growing, I mean, you guys have done some amazing things. You worked on some big homes. Not sure. I mean, if you're based in Hawaii, you're working on properties in California, like how big you've grown. I want to hear a little bit more about that, but share that through the lens of like, what was one of the biggest, as you were scaling up, what was a major like setback or challenge that you faced, and how'd you overcome it?
I think one of the biggest challenges is, the higher the mountain you climb, the higher the fall. So what I mean by that is just learning that the bigger the job doesn't always mean the bigger the success. Sometimes it's a bigger challenge. So there was just ways I had to navigate what's the right fit for us, what's our niche. And there was a point where I felt like the sun, I wanted to conquer the world, and I was spreading the boat in the wings way too wide, and we were taking everything, and so I was having to hire more people, 50 person teams and tons of project managers, opening tons of locations. But our strength was we were amazing at even touching products people didn't touch yet. We had a good team that could take on luxury projects. Like you could
Right.
bring a new product to us, or a tub. Like we've installed this tub that was chipped out of a mountain. It cost $20K for the tub, but it cost $50K for the structural components just to hold it up on the second floor. And so just understanding and having the diligence to just research these items, understand the full aspect, how to get it on island, just getting stuff here from Italy or from even Cali. It's not like it's down the street, right?
No.
Because we're on the island. So we just navigated things a little differently. We're very in tune digitally since like 2015. We've been ahead of the game with virtual, video calls with homeowners, programs. Now everyone's finally catching up in AI, but we were doing it early. And so we had to get a lot of mainland homeowners, foreign homeowners that would buy land and want to renovate, and just being able to operate from afar we're ahead of the curve. And so, along the way, we just realized our niche, Tyler. It was luxury homes. And so we got our first one, it was a great jump, man. I was getting like $250,000 jobs. And then all of a sudden, man, this opportunity came, and it was 2 million, which is a big for us at the time, like a $2 million just remodel.
That's huge.
And yeah, it's huge. And so the location of it was on the ocean. It was on one of the main roads where everyone could see our sign. It was just a great opportunity. And, I felt like put all our eggs in this basket because I felt like this was our niche, and so we just made that shift and we capitalized on it. We got awards on this job. We hit this nationally, magazine covers. And then from there it catapulted, into just opening a door like, oh, these guys are sick. Like, and they could perform fast. We're very efficient, and it's quality is one thing, but if you take 4 years, nobody wants to do that. Because anybody can hit quality eventually, but can you do it the first time, And so we just really focused on the luxury market and just changed our website, kind of changed our logo. We didn't rebrand fully, but rebranded in the sense of, hey, we're going for the sharks versus the fish, in the ocean. And so we had to really change our language and a lot of things. And so it just opened different doors, man. That was the moment.
Yeah. And so, construction's an interesting thing because like you said, you can misjudge something or misquote something in the margin and the entire job goes down, right? You can do a $2 million job that makes the same amount of net profit as a $100,000 job if you're not careful. Mm-hmm. And so how, as you've built your team, what do you look for in team members to make sure you have people that are building alongside you and not slowing you down or pulling you backwards?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it took me time to figure that out because I would hire based on relationship at first. What I mean is if I like you, can I deal with you? And, I was sitting in a lot of these meetings, and if they could just woo me, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to give you a chance because I just had a heart. I'm a tradesman, meaning now I'm playing business owner and operating at working on my business. But I used to swing hammer, so the empathy was always there and I can easily get wooed. But as we went along the journey, and I think this is very important for any business owner, like I really believe in the 3-point way of looking at somebody for an ideal team player is basically there's 3 points, right? I've heard of like, are they humble, hungry, and smart, or like the 3 points, right? Smart meaning, do they have the capacity to be what I'm hiring them to be? Are they hungry? Like, are they, they like want to come to work, want to learn, want to do all these things? And then are they humble, willing to, listen, grow, and follow suit? So I understand all these 3, but what I figured out, man, is like a lot of times I was hiring off the smart component, capacity, right? And they would either be missing humble or hungry. And that's bad, man. It's what creates bad culture, And so what I've learned are you gotta have humility and you gotta have hunger. If you have those two, we can always train you.
Yep.
We can always train you. And if you don't work out, man, at least it was a good vibe and we're not worrying about company sabotage or anything like
Right.
that. But, we do look for the Avengers, meaning we want the best of the best, but you have to have humility and you have to have hunger. And if I can see that passion and that humility, man, you're on. We'll take care of you. And it just creates a good culture, good team, and we grow together. Cause I don't act like I'm the owner that has it all,
Sure.
together either, or knows it all. We grow together. And that's always been, how I've shared it with our teams.
As you've been growing, you've started to do more than just being your construction company, right? So you told me it's been 5 years now since you launched your podcast. And now you've got a book coming out. You also, I see wellness coach on here, right? When did you decide you wanted that the business was doing well enough that you had the energy to do something, do more or add to it. But what pulled you there? What pulled you or called at you to start speaking more and sharing more?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think just after the 12-year cycle, I wanted to serve. I think that's part of being a tradesman. I just always was working, meaning trying to build something or serve somebody. And so just with knowledge being gained and a lot of the ups and downs we go through as tradesmen and business owners, I wanted to be a voice of vulnerability to say, hey, we go through it too, And so it's not your typical podcast where you come on and I got all the answers. I got the ABCs to get you from A to Z, and get quick rich or none of that, or this is how you do it in construction. Is definitely my lens and how I do it. And if you like the pictures I take, here's my lens. But ultimately it's the vulnerable space to say, hey, I go through it too. I think the hard part about business owners is we constantly have to wear a mask or a sales face saying we got it all together. Everything's popping, business is doing good, but business isn't always doing good. It's like there are times we got to, put our face on the ground and just try to figure this thing out, man, and get over certain hurdles or get through red tape and permitting, or there's just a lot of moving parts. And I felt like there needed to be more of a voice on the internet that says, hey, I'm going through it too. And this is exactly what I'm going through. And we can, just as men, especially, we always need to know, like, just awareness that, hey, I'm not alone. That's like all we need sometimes, is just to say, yeah. Okay. I don't need the answers. I just need to know I'm not alone. I'm not the only one going through this. And so that's what started it, was just like, hey man, these are my struggles, in business. And this is how I overcame them. Not that that's the answer, but this is what I had to go through to get to that point. And so that's what birthed, just trying to serve outside of this, and the podcast and so on, is just letting, it's okay to be open. And what's scary is as soon as you're vulnerable about like certain things, you might lose the next job that you desperately need. It's like sometimes be too open in some client, but like, hey man, that business doesn't sound like he has it all together. But sometimes they don't even know how the sausage is being made, but it's like they might say, hey, I can't hire them. They seem a little unstable, but no, that's just being real. So I just wanted to step out and say, be that person that's not scared to say it. And if you hire me, you do. If you hire me, you don't. Our work speaks for itself. But this is truly how business owners feel and what we go through, sometimes on a daily basis. Cause you said I think you own like 5 businesses or something, 6. I might be.
Yeah. Who knows? How many have I owned in the years? Like many more than that, but
there was this list I seen online. I was like, I was the man.
I just can't hold on for 12, 15 years like you. I get bored and I'm like, let's sell this one and do something else.
I love it, man. And so, it's just, we all go through it, even though, we have those successful moments, which we should celebrate. Don't forget to celebrate those awesome moments. But we lay at night sometimes until 3 a.m. trying to figure out a problem and trying to come up with a solution. And we don't get rest and have to wake up in 2 hours and hit it again. And so I get it, and just wanted to connect with, other business owners that go through it as well.
Yeah. So, I like that you just wanted to serve. You wanted to reach back out and give back. A friend of mine once taught me that, like, when it comes to what you share on social media and when you share maybe to clients, you share your scars, not your wounds, right? Like
Mm,
there are people
so
you
good.
go to when you're still bleeding, right? That's your
Mhm.
friends, that's your safety network, your therapist, right? Your priest, whatever you got to go. Those are the people you go when you're bleeding. But, clients and social media, you share once you've recovered. Kind of like what you said. I don't know if this will work for you, but this is what worked for me,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yep.
already worked. Um, we all have friends that do the I'm going to share everything online, and it's like, hey man, you're bleeding over everyone. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's finding that balance. And but I love when people, after they've gone through some tough times, I mean, if I remember reading right, like you had some big challenges, like fire things, like real things, you
Oh
know.
yeah, yeah. That was the growing up, and so I've been through two house fires. One took my life when I was 3. When I say take my life, yeah, I died on the way to the hospital. Man, it's like they try to revive me, but I'm 3 years old, so they just the point. There's one point they couldn't. It just you can't
Wow.
do that too much, and so they were basically you're dead, dude. And so but then on the way there, I woke back up, and it was one of those NDEs, is what they call it, near death experiences. And for me, it was a faith moment. I people were like, man, did you see heaven or hell or the afterlife? Or like, was there a ghost? Like, what was there? And I was just like, man, I didn't see all that, but I did have an
Yeah. Well, you were
experience.
3, right? I mean,
I
it's
was 3 years old, man.
how
So
much of that do you remember versus like kind of remember the stories of it and that sort of thing?
yeah, I remember it vividly.
Oh,
Actually, it
fascinating.
was yeah, I remember every second of it. And so when I did pass out, because I had the smoke back then,
Yeah.
man. You can imagine like the curtains were made out of probably gasoline in 1980,
Right.
so
Oh yeah, all
I
that
was just
stuff.
breathing in poison as a little kid. My baby brother was also in the room, but
Oof.
yeah, I passed out, man. And there was a moment right when I passed out, I did see like a multitude of people, and I seen a figure in light who I called Jesus when I woke up. And so that was like something I always carry with me along my path, man. And just having that feeling that, hey, there's something else out there.
Yeah.
Like growing up. But I was just your regular kid in high school, in college and things like that. But yeah, I did carry a faith aspect with me. But right before high school, man, we had a second house fire. But this wasn't
We need
anything
to have a
where,
conversation with your parents. Like,
yeah, it was like we went on our first family trip, and some kids in the neighborhood. I mean, we was in, we didn't live in the best neighborhoods, but they burned our house down, man. And so we came back to nothing. So right starting high school, man, I had one pair of Adidas clothes, and that was it, just for like 6 weeks until we got some donations. But it was rough, man, just going through that as
I, I know this isn't the focus of the show, but what happened to those kids? I mean, you don't just go burn somebody's house down.
yeah, they had some counseling. They were like 8 years old, man. So they were young. They were playing on our porch while we were gone, and just happened the lawnmower gas can was there and blew a
Okay.
hole right through our home. And actually, I feel bad for them because
Sure. It wasn't like they were tossing Molotov cocktails at
no,
you.
they went
Okay.
when they caught fire on the front porch. They went home and just like looked at the TV, and the mom knew something was up. Like, what's going on? They were just like, they wouldn't even talk. They were
No.
spooked. So I think it affected them,
Oh,
man.
for sure. That makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
Okay. What, so you've been, you went through the whole process of life, right? You grew up, you got,
Mm.
went in the Navy, you did you got married, had 4 kids. I also have 4 kids.
Yeah, let's
And
go,
being a
Tyler.
dad and being an entrepreneur can be awesome because I love sharing what's the good and
Mhm.
sometimes the freedom, but sometimes, the stress of life pulls back on you, right? So how do you balance all of your roles and responsibilities? How do you show up, husband, father, all those things
Love
when
this.
life is challenging at work?
Yeah, it's so hard, man. I think there was a season of entitlement I had to fight
Mhm.
through where just being a tradesman in and of itself, you work all day, you sweat, you get all beat up, and you're bringing home the money sometimes that you feel like, man, I deserve some time to like I
Right.
need to relax, and so, but there's no balance in that. And I had to learn that the hard way. Just, you come home, man, that's what it's all about, is for me anyway, is, my wife, my kids and the family. And so what am I striving for? So it's really about what are my priorities and what's my purpose? What's the whole reason I'm doing all this? Right.
Yep.
So once I define my purpose and categorize that as, and prioritize it, it really helped, number one. And then just understanding, like with my partner, that there is a time I need to decompress. Even as an entrepreneur, you're just on go mode, right? And your brain and everything you're doing, you're just out there knocking out tasks, putting out fires, starting new things, getting those rolling, doing videos, and you just come home, you're just on overload.
Oh, yeah.
So, we've got an agreement where I just need to decompress for like 45 minutes before I get into dad mode or husband.
That's
just
good.
Away from everything. So that practice helps, that transition, because it's hard to like just transition, right? And so that was the challenge, and created stress across the board with a lot of business owners I talk to. That's really hard for them, that transition. So
I've heard that before, and I really like that principle, because it's so easy. You come walking in and, everyone wants that attention right away. They want you to, there's all the things they've been waiting to tell you and hold on, but you're not, the gears haven't switched over yet. Right. So then you start responding as the boss, and that's not the compassionate dad they want. Right. So
you nailed it.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of that is what really geared me into the wellness coach. I joined the Well Club and realized stress is a killer, man. I felt it. I feel it take me to a place I didn't want to go, just because I care so much. I don't want to fail. And stress starts creeping in, and it really could take over your body. And so I wanted to find solutions with that. And the Well Club, I joined and got certified as a wellness coach, really just helps you understand your mind, body, and spirit, and the pillars of those. Because a lot of times we sometimes just focus on our body, but we forget our mind needs to be, needs attention of wellness, and same with our spirit, man. And so, I became a coach to help, business owners specifically, exactly what you said. How can I help them cure that stress and get them in a place of retreat, especially when they come home? Because that's what it's all about, man. At the end of the day, all this stuff we're doing, the grind, we're out to serve, change the world, and create freedom. But for what? It's for a legacy, for our kids, for our family. If you're out there solo, you got no kids, no wife, and you're entrepreneuring, you're doing it for me. So thank you.
All right. I have two questions, and we got a rapid fire because we're getting to the end of the show here. But one, business, like you and I have been talking, it's not just about making money. It's about life and living your life. What's one item on your personal bucket list you want to accomplish in the next 12 months?
Book number 2.
Okay. Writing another book.
Number 2. Yeah.
That gets me to the other one. Book number 1. Tell us about the book and about where people can learn more about it.
Yeah, thank you, Tyler. I, after 12 years of business, I call it the 12-year cycle, meaning like 12 months in a year. I feel like it's a number of completeness. It's very consistent pattern-wise. If you look it up, it's the number of completeness. Doesn't mean I've completed the business, but it felt like I've done enough, like the 10,000 hour rule, right? I'm calling it the 12 cycle rule, 12-year rule, where you can, and a place you can really share back, And so as a builder, I build things from ground up, and I understand architectural designs. I understand what it takes and the efforts before you can even break ground, surveying, all these things as a builder, right? And so, and as we construct and build, I've really carried my faith with me, as I was sharing in the fire, that I want to be able to share who's been walking with me, as I am an owner of the company, but I'm a steward of the resources that God has given me. And when I say God, I wanted to give him a name for entrepreneurs, and I called him the builder of all things, And so basically he's my partner in through all this. So what that means is that I wanted to share through a book to say, you're not walking alone, even when you feel alone. Like when you look at a building or a skyscraper, I would be ignorant to say that somebody didn't design and build that. Just that would cancel everything I know as a builder. So when I look at the mountains, the earth, us as humans, where we're placed in the universe, I'd be ignorant to say somebody didn't design and build this as well. And so I wanted to give it a name, man, give him a name for entrepreneurs, and spell that out with my lens. This isn't like some church book. This is just saying, hey, I'm an entrepreneur who walked with the builder of all things from day one and carried him with me. And this is what it looked like. And if the pictures I took and where we're going and how he's operating through us through the ups and downs resonates with you, then you have somebody you can look at and say, hey, I'm partnering with through your journey.
And so book number 1, Builder of All Things, that's it's available on pre-order right now, right? or is it already out?
Yeah, releases June
Okay.
24th digitally everywhere.
Oh, okay, man. By the time this show airs, it'll be live. So go buy it, get the book, support Richie, and hopefully the message helps you as well. Richie, thank you so much for coming out on the show, sharing your story and all the ups and downs, the challenges and the joys of building. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming out on the show.
Well. Thank you so much, Tyler.
My pleasure. To all my biz ninjas, wherever you're listening, watching, or tuning in, it is your turn